Oh, I can't wait for that ham.
Greetings, everyone. Tommy Hawksblood here, calling from the Big Island of Hawaii. We got a really important show to bring out today. Christmas Eve, why not? If you're busy, I guess we're not going to see you, but whenever you tune in to watch this, hope you enjoy it. Hope you get something out of it. Don't forget, my line's always open for questions. Please send them in if you have any. And I want to know the real truth. We only deal with the real truth. My special guest, co-host for the show tonight is Sergeant 18. He'll introduce himself as well. But we've been friends for a long time, and we were doing a show for a while, and it got terminated, and we restarted. But we're going to try to get some information out there that everybody should know today. So let me hand it over to Sergeant 18 to say hello to everybody.
All right. Thank you, Tommy. And hi, everyone. Merry Christmas. It's Christmas Eve around the world. And tonight's show, Tommy and I are joining forces, give you some information, insight, probably two different points of view about a lot of things we agree with, a lot of things we have different viewpoints on. But it's going to be interesting, and I hope everybody's having a safe Christmas. Myself, Sergeant 18, if you know who I am, I don't need to introduce myself, but for the people who don't, I'm the gentleman that, with the help of Tommy Hawksblood and a couple of other people, made contact in 1998 at the Wanacue, discovered the Wanacue Vortex, made contact with the aliens, filmed it all. We've come out with thousands of pictures in the next 2 to 4 years after that of meetings with ancient gods, aliens, demons, and all kind, I don't know what that sound was, and all kinds of other multiverse creatures. And I've been pushing this since 1998. So, and Tommy and I.
Sorry about that.
All right. He's in Hawaii right now. And I'm over here.
Well, one deep one, but one good one.
I'm on a show. We're going to do our thing. So keep watching.
So, everybody, I'm just going to give a quick rundown real fast. I've been involved in the UFO world since I was 6, not willingly. I got pulled into it. My books are out there. My first 2 books I give them away for free if anybody sends me an email, hawksblood1@aol.com. My newest book out is The True Teachings of Jesus from God Realization. I consider it one of the most important things I ever wrote. And it's very important if you want to understand anything about God, Jesus, and the truth. But in the interim, I have another file, a PDF file. It's called How to See a UFO. I will send it to anybody that sends me an email. It just gives you the quick steps and how to go out there to see a UFO if that's what you really want, which you should. I mean, if you never saw one, you need to see one so at least you know they're real and they're not just stories everybody else tells you. But right now, it's never been so active as it is here in Hawaii. And I hear people a couple other places. Somebody in California called my friend up and then my partner up saying, "Oh, they saw a UFO. It was crazy." So they're everywhere. People are seeing them. Everybody has a camera, and they all can film them as well. So the pictures are getting better. There's more and more videos coming out, and it's just going to be a matter of time before everybody sees and knows that they're there. But the most important thing is why, and nobody's talking about that. You go to UFO conferences, and we'll get into that a little bit later, what they talk about, what they try to tell you, and what's really important for us as humans living on this planet. So I want Mr. Soto to tell us how he got involved with the UFO world, and where he's at right now.
Myself? Hold on. Sorry, folks. I got my dog. There are people outside, Christmas visitors. I just, it was 1997, and I had been into mission pretty heavily with a number of organizations from around the world. And one night I was falling asleep. And Devron, who is this energy that speaks to me and gives me a lot of truth, all truth. And he said, take your camera. I had a little stupid recording camera, an RCA. And he said, point it anywhere in the sky and we'll give you evidence of UFOs, atypical UFOs, the real deal, anywhere you shoot. So I started doing that and we started getting them. And we got some fantastic footage. It seemed everywhere we went. And at that point, I wound up doing a show. Tommy came into the picture. And I wound up doing a show on UPN 9 called Strange Universe, which was nationwide, and it really shot me up to, and the Vortex and us up to a really great level. And then on that show, I said in 4 months, I will make contact with the aliens who are in these UFOs. And 4.5 months later, I did. And it's been just going strong ever since. One thing that Tommy mentioned about all the UFO sightings and how they're amassed right now all over the world is that the evidence that we were showing in 1997 and 1998 to say 2002, people had no idea about, because they were still expecting clanky lighted UFOs, domes, saucers, ships. That's what the construct, that's what television, that's what all the experts were putting out were real. And we were showing this stuff with the evidence, with the aliens, and it just wasn't making sense to a lot of people. And then now, since let's say 2 years ago, those old clanky ships and that type of government, which I believe is government, put out propaganda on UFOs and extraterrestrials and aliens, is like only 10%. It's more like, I think your thing is ready, Sandra. It's more like 90% of the evidence that we were showing the world in 97, 98 is now everywhere. And this is because that there's dimensions opening up, doorways opening up to the multiverse. Sorry. And there's a lot of players involved. So just keep your eyes open. Look at this new stuff. I mean, I put it out on my channel, Sargel 18 Stranger Universe on YouTube each week. Maxine, please. Maxine, please.
Wait, hold on.
But I put it out each week on that channel. Tommy discusses his things, and he's getting a lot of information of it and seeing it in Hawaii. But that's what it is now. Now it's all coming. We were about 20, 22 years ahead of people back then. Now they're getting it. And now it's time to really present the truth in all aspects of reality.
Well, what I plan on doing over the next couple of weeks on this show is building a bridge for everything that you know, the truth, and what's really important for the world and people in it. It's going to bring in spiritualism, religion, government. I mean, they're all parts of the reality that we're in. How much each one affects each other is really critical. I mean, I was just listening to a video from a Muslim woman with her face covered, going on and on about what Muslim religion is and how Christianity should be condemned. I mean, it's like, you know, we got the president with the Republicans and then the Democrats fighting each other. We're trying to create unity. I don't know if people understand what the word unity means. If we have a system, it's supposed to work for the people as a group, not just one person or just the rich people. I did a whole synopsis on all the numbers in the United States, and they will blow you away if you pull up the numbers. I'm going to be doing a couple things on Facebook and everything with those numbers. You need to know how many people. Do you know how many people are in government jobs? Do you know the job salaries of government people in the United States? You'll be mind-boggled when you hear the number. So sure, they don't want to tax the rich because all the people in the workforce that make money are rich.
Yeah.
Because they're all in government jobs, and it starts at $84,000, it goes up to $257,000 a month. So you think the Burger King people and all those kind of people, the maids and nurses and all those people make that kind of money? Of course they don't. And who pays for everything? We do. So think about it. I mean, the numbers of something that's really important in the UFO world. They talk about abductions and things like that. And these people say, well, I was abducted, but now they're using a new word called experiences. And experiences means they had a good trip. The aliens knocked on their door, came in their room and said, hey, you want to come to the planet, go up in space with us? And they make it like sound like a real fun thing. It's a program. All these people getting programmed in a great way. The numbers of abduction has escalated. And all these new age people are saying, oh, I was visited by an alien and it was a good thing. It will never be a good thing. If they wanted to make this world better, they could have made it better 20,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, even 5,000 years ago. And we're in the worst condition we have ever been in. And there's now thousands of ships. You can see them daily if you stayed out all day and all night in one day. So something's going on incredibly different than what people assume is good, beneficial for the mankind. So with that, I just wanted to say this. 2,000 children disappear daily. All right. That's 200,000 a year disappear. So where are they all going? I mean, does anybody care? We're talking about what's going on in the United States, and we put the numbers of the world in there. It's mind-boggling. Don't forget, the United States is only 4.7 of the population of the world. So when we talk about rich people, we don't have as many as other countries do. We have in the thousands of billionaires, in the millions. What is it? 220 million millionaires. We've got a lot of people with money. And look at the world and the condition the United States is in. So when we talk about aliens and bringing them down here and what they're going to do for us, you better listen to these people because they're not telling you anything that you need to listen to. So hopefully over the next couple of days of the shows that we do, I'm going to feed you information that will help you understand where you need to be in life. Because if you're just going to hope that aliens come here and save us, we got a serious problem coming ahead of us.
Now, Tommy, these a lot of people don't realize that politics, the minimum wage, what you can buy, what's good for you, what's bad for you, what they put in our food, the aliens are all involved in that too. If they were coming here just to destroy us, let's say like in Independence Day, then we wouldn't have any of this shit that's going on, like with abductions or visitations or any of that. They would just come in and annihilate us. But they need us for some reason. Either it's for food, it's for slave labor, it's for repopulating different planets in the multiverse, whatever it is they need. So they have to basically control every single aspect of our life in order to get us. It's just like if we were cattle. The calf is born, then it's taken care of by its mother, then it's put to another thing where it's fed all kinds of proteins and genomes and shit like this. Then it moves on to having, I guess, other babies or whatever. And then it moves to the next spot. And then it's finally slaughtered and used for meat. And its skin is used for leather goods and all. They don't waste anything when it comes to, let's say, cattle. So it's the same thing with here. They have to be involved in every aspect of our life. And when someone realizes that, then they're going to realize why they never got anywhere. And why Sergeant 18 said, I'm going to find these aliens in 4 months. And we did. And it's not just by luck. It's by looking outside the box. Like what happened that night, I went to light a cigarette when we were on the mountain. Couldn't light it. We were looking up in the sky. We were looking over the reservoir this freezing January night. And I had to light a cigarette. So I cupped my hand. I looked downwards about a mile or two into the valley where the vortex is. And the next thing you know, there's an orb skirting around. You see, the exact opposite of what they want you to do. They want you to stare. And that's when I looked at you and said, and you saw it. And I said, Tommy, we're looking in the wrong place. We shouldn't be looking in the sky. We should be looking on the ground for the aliens. And then less than a month later, contact happened. And all this cool shit from the vortex came out. That is the difference. You got to think outside the box. But that's hard, man, because a lot of people that's all they know is the box. That's all they know is the construct. Right?
Well, that's definite. Now, just like we don't agree on everything, but we have slightly different viewpoints on a lot of things. But aliens do need this planet. They need the planet. Certain races do. All right. And what he said, food, pollination, and things like that. But outside of that, they don't need 7.4 billion people, the same as the United States doesn't need that many kind of people. The world doesn't need those amount of people. They like the food that they can get from this planet. I was making a joke with a friend of mine. I said, well, black meat, white meat, red meat. I mean, they have the choice of what kind of diet they come down here to take. But in the interim, I have been dealing with abductees for over 35 years. When I first met the woman that was abducted and had a child taken at 8 3/4 months, taken away. She just had the sonogram done the day before they took it away. She went back to the hospital the next day. They couldn't even prove she was pregnant. She was allowed to see that child a year later. And then a year later, she was pregnant again, and they took the second child away. And she never she never got to see the second child. And that's only one case. I work with thousands of them. I didn't write books about it. And I said, people don't care. Because when they tell the story, people just call them crazy. but the hospital said there was no way she could have been pregnant, even though they filmed the sonogram the day before. But people with actual artifacts or proof are very far and in between. Sargel, I call him the greatest UFO photographer in the United States because I filmed some with him, more ships, more creatures, more entities than anybody else in the world, probably. And he doesn't get the credit that he deserves because these people that out there shoot one picture and then they got this million word story to back it up. Well, I work with 100 aliens. I operated on 300. The stories they're putting out there on top of the make-believe story that they have to start with is delusional. One thing,
they don't stop, man. They don't stop. Once they see that money coming in and people lining up to see them talk, that story gets more and more embellished, doesn't it?
Well, Mr. Dolan's doing a TV series. It's going to be on again. I think it starts next month, 6-part series. I mean, it's about a person that was involved with the UFO government that had to go around saying everything was fake. It's a good show. I mean, I don't give him credit for being a really great person as far as in the UFO world, because his stories are everybody else's story. And it's time that, like, Sargel's talking about his experiences. I talk about my experiences directly. We were together a lot of times. I had witnesses when I saw my things. It's not like I just did some drugs, went to sleep, woke up, and made up a great story, like so many people do. Oh, now
and
here's the thing.
Too. They do. It's so funny.
Well, what I wanted to say is, once you get abducted, and this is for anybody that has ever been abducted, you're implanted. And just because you don't find it and they don't remove it doesn't mean you're not. But by the same token, I will say this under my own proof by the people I deal with, 98% of everybody that's ever been abducted is mind programmed.
We have.
Right? They believe whatever story they feed them.
I have an implant. It's in here. Listen. I don't know if you can hear it.
Oh, you found it?
Yes.
Oh, congratulations.
I'm going to be doing a show on it. It's inside this vial here. And it came out of the deep sinuses of somebody very close to me. And when you see it, you're going to say, what the hell, man, was this thing doing up there? And I got it. And that's going to come. And that's just another bit. That's what Sergeant 18 is all about. I'll make a statement. I got the evidence. I made contact. I got it on video. You know, predictions. It happens. It just keeps going. That's the difference between Sergeant 18 and these guys you hear Tommy talking about right now. We know the brightest, the biggest, the most famous, and the best in the industry for years. And we have yet to see some really solid evidence. Not a fluke. Excuse me. People can get flukes, catch something and all that. And that's great. But these people that you see on TV, these so-called experts, are laughable if you see them off of TV. And we've seen them off of TV, and we've had some good times with them, remember?
Well, you know, I miss being up at the Vortex. It was like something you're stepping into the time zone or into a different world altogether.
Yeah.
There's nothing going on like that here in Hawaii. I'm saying we have a lot of UFOs and stuff flying over us. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's admitting anything. Nobody's saying a word. But we do have Trump signing a paper yesterday. What's today? The 24th? No, a couple days ago, about the Space Army. He's signing a paper saying we have a Space Army, but we already had a Space Army for a long time. He's admitting that we have one, and he's going to say, okay, now we can fund them some money, which they already were taking $5 trillion a year before that. So, I mean, he wants credit for a lot of things. Like he's going to take credit when we go to Mars. He says he wants to be president when we go to Mars. Well, again, that's his desires. And he wants to be the most famous person. And the impeachment thing is growing and it's growing and growing. Even though we know the Senate will try to get him out and everything else, the poll just changed. Everybody on the news is blown away because the percentage went over what Mr. Trump expected, because it went over to 54% want an impeachment now. It's a sad thing because we have sad things going on, and I can go into that, but I don't want to bring that into this show today because Trump is going after the Native people in a large way.
I'm just going to make one thing. Donald Trump is where he's supposed to be because that's where divine providence wants him to stir up the shit. And he will be president again in 2020 by one of the biggest landslides in presidential history. That's all I'm saying. That's what Devron says. Whatever other problems he has, I'm sure he's got problems. Got to remember, Tommy, none of us are squeaky clean. We all done stupid shit in our lives. But when it comes to a point of where you say, am I going to do something right, or I believe is right or wrong, and you believe that it's right and it doesn't hurt anybody, everybody deserves that chance to make that decision and see if they can do it. That's what God's about, right?
Well,
I mean,
see,
you can be a bad person your whole life,
have,
do one good thing, and right?
Here's the thing. When Jesus was teaching his people, he said, go out and sin no more. I mean, sin's a make-believe word, all right? But when you know where you're coming from, you can't hurt other people. Mr. Trump already hurt the Native Nation in a great way. The oil well just broke open and flooded the city again. I mean, they were boycotting it, and now he passed a bill. And this is a bill he passed.
I know.
25 years if you get caught protesting an oil drill. So he's defending that. But he doesn't care what's happening to the planet, and we are destroying it because of Mr. Tesla. And we can go. I could talk about.
Yeah, well, because of the lies and what was done to him. Yes, that is why that's happening. But you know what? You can't become a billionaire without being a jerk off. You can't. You can't be, unless you inherit all the money and you're a really nice guy.
Well, but then you become a bad guy anyway.
Yeah, like, remember what Jesus said. It's easier to go through an eye of a needle than a rich man to get into heaven.
Right. I say that all the time. But the problem with that is, okay, rich people don't listen to that phrase. They don't believe it.
In particularly, as Sergeant 18, with all the experience that I have in metaphysics, with God, with the aliens, with Lucifer and all that, I cannot believe that there are people on this planet, like, let's say, the dictator of North Korea, that kill hundreds of thousands of people and torture them and all that. By their word, none of these people seem to be afraid of going to hell or a hell-like reality or God being pissed at them. I don't get it.
Well, see, Mr. Pope himself came out last year and said hell doesn't exist. After a religion that dealt with it for 2,000 years, he comes out and says hell doesn't exist. So if you're a mass murderer, a rapist, or whatever you are, and you hear hell doesn't exist, what do you think? Oh, wow, I can do what I want. And suddenly the morals that you were supposed to have are even less than they were before you started.
Well, I think he just changed the thing now that priests can get married again.
Well, he just changed that.
People aren't going. And now he just came out with something this weekend that the church has to be more progressive towards the gender people. I forget what, TBSQ, whatever the hell it is. The gender people have to be allowed in to be priests and all that stuff. And they have to do this, otherwise they're going to lose. Now, I know that Peter, or the representative of Peter, is allowed to make choices here on earth and they'll reflect in heaven. I just don't know if it's right or wrong. I just don't know. I mean, I don't know if that is cool or not in the eyes of God. And I'm not saying bad about anybody. I just don't know. I mean, the Bible seems to say one thing, but the Pope can change that.
We got a problem with the Bible, that's for sure. The whole story of Adam and Eve is a fictitious story. I mean, the Pope did say it wasn't a real story as well. It's based on part of a story because the reptilians did come down here and help create. Because in the story of Adam and Eve, I mean, that story is another fictitious story. There's 4 races on this planet right now. There were 9. So there's only 4 colored races here on this planet. They didn't come from the same seed. The government and science is still trying to prove we all came from Africa, we all came from the black race, which is a total lie, completely. And beyond a shadow of a doubt, the Hopi people have the only DNA that no other tribe on this planet has. That totally disapproves the statement that they made. But then again, here's the other thing. If we all came from Adam and Eve, all right, when did that happen? Where, I mean, all the facts about that, where did the aliens come from? Oh, now the other thing that I'm against is the whole Anunnaki story, which is based on Zachariah Sitchin.
Well, some of it is based on. He made it more popular. Actually,
well, he translated it to what he put out there.
Yeah, he put out there. Because recently it is Planet X. Devron, I just did a couple of shows on it on my channel on YouTube. Devron has the evidence is going through. The holes are being seen. You can see Planet X. You can see the mountains and the ground and everything of this massive planet. And it's where it was 6,600 and some years ago. It's where it is now. It's right next to us, but it's in the next level, the multiverse. But it's so massive when these holes open up, things come through and it's affecting us. And the evidence is now coming out. And this I found because I never believed in Planet X, and you know this, and I didn't give a shit about Zachariah Stitchin or any of that stuff. But I found out that the famous astronomer Lowell was given the information about this so-called, what we call Planet X, but this large planet, in 1909, and then the government came into construct and perverted it. But it's been out there since 1909. And then that woman in 1995 did a book and some stuff on it based upon what she thought and what Zachariah thought. And then it became more popular. But now we are seeing this planet. It is not in third dimension. I put the videos up, 2 of them from different parts of the world. It is incredible. And when Devron told me what this was, it just makes sense. But where's it going to go? Half the people that I see in the world of the UFO and paranormal want an Armageddon like an Independence Day to happen. They want aliens to come and kill everybody and hardly be anything left and all that. And the other half don't want it. So there is a tug of war also. I think the aliens coming here at all. Okay. The aliens coming here at all can be a miracle. And folks, for you guys that are out there and you want to go to my channel, that's Sargel18 Stranger Universe on YouTube. We got over 200 videos up there full of information, a lot of Tommy stuff, my stuff, other people. I pick things apart. Go ahead. All right, I was doing a commercial while you were gone.
No problem. I appreciate it. You do whatever you want.
But
I'm here to bring some
to people. Half of them are doomsayers, and the other half want to be saved. So how does that get divvied up?
Well, I fit in between both. The world needs to be taken down, means the population has to be cut at least in half. And then the people that are supposed to stay here better wake up and shape up to create a better world. If you're going to try to make this world better, you got to worry about the earth, the water, the air, and the food and the animals. You can't say, well, they're useless. No, they are important. Because by next year, and these are my prophecies, the ocean's going to be completely contaminated. Fukushima is going to start hitting Hawaii. It's bypassed us so far, but it's going to be hitting us next year. It's already killing thousands and thousands of whales and dolphins. Giant creatures from under the ocean are coming drifting up out of the water now. And they're not going to admit that because Japan never admits anything. They never told the world how many people died, how many people are dying there. So, and that's still going off. But people don't understand that because nobody talks about it. But I say this. I brought this out about a year ago, and I'm the only one person in the United States talking about it. And I haven't had one comment, anybody say a single word, not even the government. 3 months before Trump got elected, 3 months, on Russian TV, Putin came out live and said, I want Trump to tell the truth about 9/11. He said, I want Trump to tell the truth about what they're doing with aliens. Then he said directly, I'm working with 37 alien races. 2 of them want to destroy the planet. I know for a fact we had 3 major wars in space, which the United States stopped. I don't know how much help. We didn't need Russia's help for that, but we did stop them. We had 3 major wars on the planet already. So there's a lot of things happening. We got 2 alien races that are evil. And then I can tell you, the reptilians and the draconians. The Greys aren't trying to destroy the planet, but they do eat humans. So we have a major change in population of people. Why? Now, the most important UFO story outside of what Sargel and I talk about, what happened up in Wanacue, is Phil Snyder's story. That is the most important secondary story to what happened there, because he went into an army base, which was an alien army base, and they killed a lot of, quote, top people in our army, the Green Berets. What was it? I don't know. It's like 87, whatever it was. He got blasted by a laser beam, whatever you want to call their weapon. It slit his stomach open, slit his hand off, and blew his foot apart. And they said he tried committing suicide, and he was trying to commit suicide. Really? Is that the way you do it? And then he got wrapped up in barbed wire. I guess that's how you commit suicide, the easiest way. That story is important if you want to know what went down with the government. But in all along that time, they did have an alien in captivity. They brought this other guy supposedly from Venus into the government, and all these stories, how much they worked together. They killed Evie because he had them controlling what the government did, and they were just taking all the people, and they found how many thousands of skeletons down there. So they don't eat them like we do because they don't have a mouth. If you ever look at a real gray, any one of them, they don't eat through their mouth. They eat through their pores. So a person's got to be liquefied, and then they drink them. I saw an actual video, one of the few people that actually got to see it, of a cloning of the grays, how they actually clone them. And that's what all cattle mutilation is about. They take that embryo, they take, the sac and everything, and they produce this place to grow an alien in. And they're doing it inside in Flagstaff, Arizona, where the Army base is. It's a secret mission base up there. I went up where it was. I was on a journey of vision quest with the medicine man that I was with, a Hopi person. So there's a lot of things that people don't want to talk about. And on top of it all up, nobody wants to talk about underground cities. And why?
Well, that's like Wanacue, Tommy. I mean, Wanacue is a normal looking town with 7-Elevens and restaurants and bus stops and people's homes. And underneath it is a massive alien base, a city underneath Wanacue. And where do they hide it? They hide it right under a neighborhood that you would never, ever expect it to be. And that's, number of people have been in there. I've known some people. We know how to get in entrances that we've seen. And of course, all that happens above ground with all the aliens. But people just don't expect on just how far they are into our lives. They think they're centered at Area 51. They think that there's a vortex out in the middle of the ocean with what's the name of that place off of Florida? What? The place where all the planes disappear. Bermuda Triangle. They think it's out there. It's away from you. It's away from the average. Oh, that's cool, but that's way out there. That's right. No, it's right under your feet. It's right under you. And they don't get that. And that's why Wanacue is so dangerous and so kept secret. And it's also why we don't get anywhere with it. If you really look at it, the construct doesn't allow it. Doesn't allow us to, get to that level anymore. We come out in 98, 97 to 98. To 2000, we made some big splashes in the thing, especially with the orb discovery. But people just don't get it, man. They don't get it that they're in everything. And unless you can do a Ted Kaczynski and become the Unabomber in the middle of nowhere or off the grid, you got to deal with certain aspects of the construct and their influence, alien influence, demonic influence. There's a number of beings doing shit. And you got to deal with it, and hopefully you come through with a straight head. If not, look at the crime. Look at the things. There's this woman who wanted her friend's baby and strangled her and cut the baby out with only like a week to go out in the Midwest because she wanted her baby. She was her best friend. Daddy, you got to be fucking kidding me. That is crazy ass influence, demonic influence, and possession to an extent. She wasn't spitting pea soup, but she was as possessed as the Exorcist when it came to that shit. And look what she did. And people just look at it and the government labels it crazy. She has this thing. She has this thing. She has this thing. How about, hey, she's being influenced. If I had taken that woman out to the vortex and shot pictures of the creatures that were influencing her around her, like I've done many times with people, that could have been prevented. But they don't even allow anything like that. So you just don't know. You just don't know how far it is until you see it. And when you see it, it scares the living shit out of you.
Well, we have, since we didn't get into the whole conversation about the Montauk Project and everything else about it, but once the vortex ripped open and we have all this stuff coming into this world, demons are manifesting now. There's a lot of shows on TV I mean, they all used to have nothing to show, but now they're pulling up incredible videos of demons walking across the room and things like that, voices talking. I'm sure it's not all real, but some of it is. Because I was talking to a medicine woman friend of mine, and she called me in the middle of the night on Skype and said, "Hey, something's coming in my house." And it was a demon walking around in the house. And then she goes, "She's hiding behind the couch." I said, "Get rid of it." And she looks up, and then another one, I watch it come right through the door, came into the room, and she goes, "I'm leaving." And she ran out of the house. I'm still mind boggled that she just didn't get rid of them. Uh, I mean, see, people, I mean, even myself, I screwed up once in my life. I'll never do it again. When I was less than a foot away from Bigfoot, I ran back to the truck, because I didn't have anything on me. I didn't have my camera, didn't have a flashlight, didn't have a staff.
I remember that. Clinton Road. That was Clinton Road.
But when I got back to the van, I thought it was running after me, and I thought we'd film it as I'm screaming, "Get the cameras, get the cameras."
Yep.
And then when I got back to the van, it wasn't there. But in that interim, Brian finally came out of the van, and we heard the screams for about 5 minutes. Every 30 seconds, it would do the great Bigfoot scream.
Yeah.
Then something that was totally amazing, within I don't know how many minutes after that, maybe 10, 15 minutes, all the wolves started howling around the island, the mountain. We were there for years, and we never heard a wolf howl.
No.
We saw footprints. We did get to see a few footprints in the snow.
Right.
But they weren't howling. They never howled. They never came out. And then all of a sudden, they're all howling around the whole mountain. So I found out recently, wolves follow Bigfoot for some reason. I don't know the connection. I mean, I'm not into Bigfoot. I mean, it's not my desire to understand him. I just listen to all the make-believe stories about him. Real fast. I'm part Native, and I was all over the United States, met with many elders and spiritual people in the Native world. They talk about the star beings. First off, they call it the star beings because they have no clue what race it is. Second of all, the help they got didn't help them in any way. The Native people went from 50 million, which probably maybe even 60 million people, down to 750,000 people in 400 years. So obviously the Bigfoot wasn't helping them too much. I mean, now they're coming out with the Native people had to kill the giants that were in the United States as well, and they're finding their skeletons. So the stories are so twisted among tribal people, religious people. It's time to put facts together, or important ones that mean something that could help us. And I'll say this, aliens aren't going to help us. Help us what we want them to do. They do what they need to do. It's not about making us.
They do have their own objective. Yeah, of course they do. But see, the most help that I've learned recently, the most way that you can find peace in life and clarity of mission, true clarity of mission, is to basically let yourself free of all construct ideas. And as that happens, and it's happening to me now, I'm becoming different. I'm looking at the world different. I'm seeing things, habits that I've had my whole life, I've stopped doing. And I wonder, I look and I go, why have I stopped doing that? I've done that for years. What's it matter? Any experiences that I have, what would make me stop that? And what's happening is it's a realignment that happens in somebody where all of a sudden, all right, here's something. Let me just kind of explain it this way. Here's something that Devron said to me 2 days ago. He said, what you've done for the last 22 years, contact, the UFOs, the orb discovery, predictions, all that stem that makes you, that makes you Sargel 18 is over. And I'm like, it's over. He said, yes, it is now the past. You don't forget it. And you could bring it up and talk about it, but that is no longer you or your mission. You have been realigned. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do next? And basically, Devron shuts down then because he's not allowed to know. But he didn't shut down with telling me that everything that I've been for the last 22 years to myself, to my friends, to the world is now in the past. And I don't have to deal with it anymore. So that is one of the things that I personally am trying to handle am trying to handle. And that's why I only put up 2 videos in the last month and a half on my channel, is because I'm looking for a new way to come across, because the old Sargel is gone. Now, this is what I call direct divine intervention. A miracle happened to me. I don't want to get into it, but it's equal to the Jesus thing. It's equal to the contact thing in 1998. And because of this miracle and the level of it that it is, I have to rethink everything. And I've been released from a good 90% of the construct so far. If I want 100%, that would be up to me. But also, too, real quick, you can't, you can't express it to people. You could tell them till you're blue in the face what's going on and what happened and how you feel and how you changed. And they'll yes you to death, but they really don't get it. You got to have it happen to you. And then once it happens to you, then you get it. And for me personally, I'm still getting it. It's been a month and a half and I'm still getting it. I'm still trying to understand what happened in my life and in my mission, and where this could possibly take me and how would it affect the world by Virgil 18. But the one cool thing about it is, he said, Devron says, all this other stuff I did, all we're talking about now and all that, that's all in the past. That's not you anymore. So I got to figure out what the hell that means. And I don't know, T. I have no fucking idea what
all right. Me, I wrote 5 books. My 5th one's in the works right now. I'm halfway through it. I use the word truth. Now, everybody says everybody has their truth. And I say it this way. There's only 3 truths that exist on this planet. Yours, mine, and God's. You can choose which one you want to listen to. But if you choose God's, you've got to make sure it's God's and not yours. And if you choose somebody else's, you're in serious trouble. Because the fact is, if you look at numbers and what's happening to the world, everybody that claims to talk to Gabriel, Michael, and all these angels that came down, what do they do with their lives? What do they create? Now, one of the people I debate a lot, I mean, he won't come on my show because he's afraid to, but Conversations with God. And he says, God says everything's about love. If everything was about love, we would be in that position right now, but it's not about love. Compassion's an important word, because compassion's a little bit different than love. And the world needs compassion for itself, for each other, which they don't have. So when I talk about truth, when a person comes out like Muhammad, and he says he worked with Gabriel, and his truth is what the whole Muslim religion became. All right. Now, Moses said he talked to God. All right. God doesn't talk to people, whether they want to believe that or not. That's their choice. He wrote 10 commandments, supposedly, that God gave him. He created 613 more by himself. How's that? He couldn't live by the first 10 he created. So I call him the greatest black magician. If any of the things he said happened, which they did, whether he actually created them himself or not, actually happened. All those miracles, or what you want to call them, disasters, all happened. Whether he was totally responsible for it or not is a different story. Nobody could prove that. When he had the snake fight the Pharaoh snake and it killed him and ate him, I mean, that's a great story. Whether it was real or not, we weren't there. I wasn't there at that point. So we got these supposedly spiritual people claiming all these great things. Now, the Pope has the highest power in the whole Catholic religion, probably in Christianity, and he's abusing it to the max. He will pay karma when he leaves this world, which he will, and it won't be that long from now, when he will face what he assumes is Jesus and God. I mean, he praises Jesus, but Jesus didn't want praise. Everybody doesn't understand Jesus. I will do multiple shows because my newest book is all about Jesus. Jesus was the most spiritual person to walk this planet, but he never, ever, ever said he was God. He never said he wanted to be God. He never said, he always said his Father. He never said me. The one statement in the Bible that says, I am he, all right, that was a man that wrote that down. Jesus never said that. And I'm going based on past life experiences of being there. Jesus was the most only person that actually taught about a real God. No other deity, being, or entity that lived before him did, because they all took credit for being gods, from Shiva, Durga, Kali, all the other gods, Quetzalcoatl. They claimed to be a god, all right, but they weren't. They were the workers. I call them little gods, if you want to call them that. but they have no power over the higher worlds that God talked about, that Jesus spoke about. Nobody talks about that in the Bible. Why is that? Because they don't know. Buddha has his own teachings about the astral plane and reincarnation, which is important. All these facts go together, and aliens are coming into this world. The population's increasing daily because aliens are reincarnating into this reality. That's why 90% of these people that say they're walk-ins were aliens in their past life. And then the other problem is they were female, if they're male, or they were male now, or vice versa. And that's why this whole identity crisis is happening. They're becoming aware of their past lives, and they're tuning into the energy they had in that lifetime, and they miss it in this lifetime. So, I mean, when we change our agenda, are we going to add wings to our back? Are we going to add horns, which people are doing, changing their eyes to black? I mean, all these things to look evil, to be this, to be that. It's not like facing why we really came here. And that's what I talk about more than any other thing. It's not about making the world better. And mankind thinks they come here to save mankind. No, we're destroying the children. We're destroying reality. We're destroying everything. We are not making one thing better. Not any of our inventions help mankind move forward. Aliens give us more toxic things to deal with. Everything Tesla brought to this world is destroying it right now. And when people realize that, the Tesla car is going to be one of the worst things out there on the road. It already killed a couple people, but once they put them out everywhere and then everything else is going automated, people don't realize the human race is being totally annihilated because they're not going to be needed. And who's in control of that? Alien races that control the government. That says we don't need all these people. We only need a few people. We want the people that can fix the robots that are going to drive the cars and fly the ships and everything else. All the new IM technology, whatever you want to call it, because people are not looking forward to the future, looking into it to understand it. Now, before I get back to you, Ryan, Sargel, you remember the name Billy Myers, right?
Right.
All right. He came out 50 years ago.
Yeah.
1950. He put 100 prophecies on a piece of paper and sent them to every government on this planet. Do you know 89 of them came true? 89 of his prophecies came true to this day right now. He screwed himself when he made a little spaceship and took pictures of it. And then, I mean, Jane Fonda was trying to win him over. All these people were trying to buy him out. Fred Bell, a friend of mine, was trying to bring him to the United States and keep him here. Everybody wanted him. But he lost in his own ego. Ego is the destruction to the human race and destruction to each individual person. I mean, money builds ego, and then ego builds money, and then you've got a serious downfall. So with aliens coming here, I said, if they wanted to help mankind, what would they really do? Think about it. Oh, if they would come here and help us, what would they give us that would help us be any better? Purify the ocean? Stop us using nuclear reactors? All the weapons that they're giving us? See, people don't put the facts together. Why are they giving us the weapons that are destroying the planet?
That could be because that's what we're asking for. They could give a choice, make water better, or here's a better weapon, and the government says, I'll take the weapon. That could be. That could be.
But when I see people that worked inside the government, I mean, the book Left at Eastgate, Larry Warren, I was with him for a couple of days many years ago, before he wrote the book even. He was outcast from the army for 10 years. He couldn't even prove who he was. But he was in a room with an alien, and they stuck him in a room with an alien. And then when he was outside on the base, the ship landed, everybody, the captain, the colonel, they all touched the ship and everything else, and that was all covered up for a long time. But during that time frame, we had a nuclear reactor underground. I don't know if you remember this, but women were boycotting and handcuffing themselves to the fence and everything because it was underground nuclear weapons, and they were fighting it. And they came over that base for 6 days and shined lights down into the base. And they never admitted what happened. And I guarantee they neutralized all the weapons, all the radioactive materials that they had down there. And they had 6-foot walls and concrete blocking that and all that. So there's a lot of little stories that go behind all that. To this day, they still say it was a make-believe story.
There's a lot of experiences, and a lot of them are pieces of things. You put a lot of the experiences together, you get a sentence. I like to go back to something you said about spiritualism. Jesus was probably, I agree with you on this, spiritual individual that walked the planet, because if he didn't admit it, he was from God. I'd met him. That you can't ignore it. You can't ignore the vibration. I'm lucky I didn't explode. But there are a lot of false prophets who make the claim, and people think they're God or they're Jesus or they're like Jesus. They were sent from God. And the one thing that about Jesus is when he died, his story to this day is probably the most influential story in history and the whole human race is the story of Jesus. Everybody knows it. If you don't know who Muhammad is, you sure the hell have heard of Jesus. All right. So this is the truth. This is how you tell by hindsight if somebody really was spiritual and really wasn't. And I have an example. Something very much surprised me today when I was reading a small story in the newspaper, in a national newspaper. Now, as I just said, Jesus influenced everybody. He was the true spirit, the true light of God. That's how I say it. There was another one back when Tommy and I were younger in the 70s and 80s, his people in India claimed to be like Jesus. They would give up their houses and live on dirt roads in front of his massive house and palace that he lived in, just to be able to see him when he left and came. And his name was Ram Dass. And I'm sure a lot of people know who I'm talking about. Well, the difference between Jesus, the truth, and Ram Dass, the so-called truth, is, I don't even know if you know, Tommy, Ram Dass died yesterday.
I know that for a fact. My partner told me.
Where I saw it on a little story buried in the newspaper. No big glitz, no big thing on the news. This man, when we were younger, people here in the United States, that's where dreadlocks and all that stuff, like, I believe, came from. They were all following Ram Dass, and his teachings. Well, he died, and there wasn't even a blip. And there might be some stories about him in India and around certain cultures. But if you're going to compare him to Jesus, and when Jesus was alive and died, what has happened since then in the name of Jesus, I don't think you're going to see any of that in the name of Ram Dass. So now there's some. Now, I'm not saying Ram Dass was a fraud. Okay, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, if you're truly here to influence the masses, the planet, well, when Ram Dass now that he's dead, his influence should be equal to Jesus, but it's not even close. So people, and when we were younger, people would talk about Ram Dass. You could not say no wrong about this man. He was God. Ram Dass.
He was here in Hawaii. He stayed here a lot. He did all his work here in Hawaii.
But he didn't.
The thing is,
he's not going to have the level of JC when it comes to influencing the world. Tommy.
Well, we do have a slight difference in understanding of who Jesus really was. I can only base it on what I saw, what he did, and what he did with people, what he said. What he was teaching was never put in the Bible. All right. When he died, and no matter how spiritual he was, his own followers helped kill him. So no matter how good you think you are, how spiritual you are, or even if you are, the world is not going to listen. This is hell. It will never be anything else until half of this population is depleted and there's a new race born. But as far as what we're doing, nothing man has done or is doing is beneficial to the human race. Nothing. China's going to make gold the money market. He's going to try to destroy the U.S. money in the next couple of years, which he's already started. So we're in a serious position. Trump thinks China's our friend. Russia's our friend. They're all watching out. Putin is into his own country. He doesn't care about any other part of the world. He wants global warming. He wants to have farming there 9 months a year. He's got his own guidelines of what he wants. So when we talk about spiritual people, when you live in hell, I know you don't look at this world as hell. I do. And I look at what's happening. This is the only place, soul, which is what you truly are. When you leave this body, you don't take this ignorant body with you, because like Jesus said, what comes out of it is what's dangerous. What goes into it doesn't matter, but what comes out of it is. And I mean, if you look at what comes out of the human body, is gross every which way. The words and every other movement that we do.
Hold on, Dave, in a bit. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But Jesus had a lot of teachings which nobody understood what he was saying. When he talked about the other worlds, he wasn't talking about planet Earth. When he said, when in his Father's mansion, not his mansions, when his Father's mansions, there's many rooms. People have no clue what that means.
Yeah, that's what he said to me. He goes, I came here to give people a place to go to, my Father's house. That's what he said to me.
Well, but the many rooms, they don't see, Jesus had a word for ignorant people. They were all farmers, fishermen. They had no clue what dimensions are and realities and realms are.
Right.
He had to use words like when he said Father. God wasn't a father figure. I mean, that was the only thing those people could understand in that time frame, 2,000 years ago, and they didn't even know what love was. Guess who created the word love? It didn't exist. Jesus married Mary Magdalene, which will never be in the Bible, never be written anywhere, because they don't want the fact that what Jesus did is not pertaining to what the Bible wrote about constantly.
Right.
I mean, and then they even said Jesus confirmed what Moses said, which is the biggest lie out of them all. Moses said, if you see the wrong things, pluck your eyes out. If you say the wrong thing, cut your tongue out. If you steal, cut your hands off. And then in the Bible, it says, Jesus said, that's right. Because if you want to get into heaven, you have to remove the things that are bad, but not that way. So, I mean, the Bible has been twisted. Don't forget, there was 40 gospels and they only took 4, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and only 2 of them were disciples.
Well, when Jesus comes back, you brought a good point up. He had to relate to the people of the time. So that's the verbiage, and that's what he did. Now, when he comes back, he's going to have to come back in a completely different way to relate to the people on how they are now. So I'm not presuming the mind of God. I don't know how he's going to do that, but he definitely can't come around walking barefoot with some sheep and making a couple of fish happen. He's going to do some other shit. There's some other stuff going to go down.
Well, like I said, I put my life on the line. What's going to happen with that in the next 10 years? Because
I'm sorry.
Your date is 2034.
Yeah, right? That's the start of Lucifer's war, and in 2037, Jesus will come back and kick his ass, and it'll be over, and we'll all know the truth then.
Jesus, all right. Now here's the thing: nobody understands. Jesus didn't have an ego. He's probably one of the only people that walked this planet without an ego.
He's pretty funny.
He never claimed anything.
He could be funny.
All right. Ego means I'll come back and I'll do this or I'll do that. I can do this. He never bragged about what he did. And he never took credit for what he did. He always told the people, in your own faith, you changed it. He said in his own words, they'll be greater than me. What's that mean? And he said a lot of things that people don't listen to.
I don't know, Tommy. He had to turn it off to walk the earth. There is no way a human being is going to stand near this dude and not be in complete shock and ecstasy like I was. There's no way. He had to turn it off. He had to turn off the power somehow.
Well, he had 32 psychic abilities, which he only used about 25 of them. All right. There's certain ones he never used. Levitation wasn't something that he used publicly. I mean, a lot of the abilities that he had, he never used. He brought the dead back to life. And see, even that story is written wrong in the Bible. I was there. Jesus pulled Lazarus out of the cave and he rose into the light, and then he rose up into heaven. He didn't come back and start building a family, creating a workforce, and living life on planet Earth again. See, resurrection and what do you call it? Death and traveling. And people use ascension versus ascending. Ascension is what Jesus went through. He's the only being that went through it. Right. Ascending means everybody dies and then sends into the astral plane. And he couldn't say the astral plane because they had no clue what that would mean.
No, he had it. Yeah, he had
the whole story about being judged.
He had to say.
I mean, all that, as far as the Bible, it's all twisted.
You got to keep reminding people, T, that the Bible was written 200 years after Jesus died by man, and the church was in control of it. They're not going to give away the secrets. That's why I'd love for me and you to get into that Vatican vault one day and just mosey around and see what they got lying around in there.
But no matter what it was, the Pope has all those documents and everything else, but it's not helping nobody. The Noah's Ark, not Noah's Ark, the Ark of the Covenant.
Right.
All right. The reason why Jesus got mad when he went into the temple is because they put the Ark of the Covenant in the temple. And Jesus said these people are evil, and he didn't want the Ark of the Covenant with these evil people in control of it. And that's why he flipped out in the temple. It's not because he got mad because they were selling things in the market. They did that. They always did, and they still do. But here's a problem. The Ark of the Covenant had something in it that was powerful. And Jesus knew it. But these people started using the Ark of the Covenant for war. They brought it into the battlefield. And guess what happened when they brought it to the first battlefield when they brought it into war? Both sides started dying. It wasn't about who's right or wrong. It's good or bad. There was a big
message.
This side's better than that side. It wasn't like we're going to use it as a weapon against you.
Yeah, well, it would. Yeah,
it's a weapon against evil.
Yeah, yeah. Did you see the message?
No. Oh, okay. Greetings, pleasure. You got a question? Please put it in there, or you can come on the show if you feel like it.
No, did you see it? Somebody made
hold on. He's here. Hold on.
Let's
see if he comes on. He might come on if he's still there. Hello?
All right, I don't see it. Oh, this is a pretty cool program, Tommy.
It should. Do you got a camera?
Tommy, I'm just going to step back and go to the bathroom while you fix this.
All right, I'll try to get him on.
All right.
I think we got. No, we don't. Click on the microphone where it says cam mic. Click on that. You don't have your mic turned on. Hello, can you hear me now? Hello. Your volume. Oh man. Well. I don't know if you can hear me. Man, oh man, I'm trying to get him on.
No, honey, you're not going to get me on.
Oh, I hear you now. Hello? Okay, I'm sorry, but greetings.
Hi. Hi, guys.
Well, but I'm here. So how are you doing?
Right, because I'm hungry.
Great. How are you doing?
I'm starved.
Well, we got lots of things.
All right, hold on.
It's not any
we don't have a picture.
different.
Can
But the voice is on. I don't see the picture.
at the bottom it says cam or mute. It should, depending on what you.
Well, Sargel's back.
I like this program. Hey, who's this? I can't hear.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. What's up?
Great show.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Well, if you have a question or a statement, you can say whatever you want. The connection's a little bit.
Yeah, going in and out.
I'm enjoying listening to you all.
Well, thank you. We're trying to bring out the truth here on Christmas Eve, 2019.
Right on.
All right. Where are you from?
Oh, you wouldn't know.
Okay.
That sounds like Martha.
Okay.
Jersey's a big state.
Tommy, I got a half hour, and then I got a.
Okay, you got a half hour. All right. You know, I might keep the show running. I got to run to the store as well, but I mean, I want to get into a little bit about Easter and Christmas, the next two big important dates coming up, and what it really means. I know I just heard a Muslim speaking about banning Christmas and all that. The truth should be out there, and it shouldn't be about gifts. And I just listen to people what they say. about holidays. I mean, it's just a little bit of happiness for the people that's in pretty much the chaos, and the percentage of people that are going insane and everything else. It's pretty sad, but if one day make them happy, it's better than 0 days that make them happy. Giving a gift is always better than receiving. If you get to that point, and when you make somebody happy, you feel good. I mean, if every rich person on the planet decided to make the world a better place, guess what? It would be. So, did you? I don't know if you want to say anything else. Do you?
Let me see. I got 25 more minutes. So, what we're trying to do on this Christmas Eve, I guess, is give our viewpoints in a generalization about a number of topics. But at one point, we should be able to focus in every now and then. Have one of these chats where we're focusing in on one point, and you're hitting them with your stuff, I'm hitting them with mine. There's no way to show pictures on this, is there?
There's I can share screens and everything. Yes, I can.
Oh, you can. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, that's good. That's good.
You have it on your bottom, doesn't it? Does it say share screen?
Yes, it does.
So we can put whatever we got on our computer on the screen as well.
Okay.
It's only $20 what I'm paying for. Considering
pretty good.
Free, and Blog Talk Radio's up to $50 now. And you don't have video and everything else. There's different things that go on. They don't record everything. They keep it on for a month, but you can put the link out there. It's got its good points and bad points.
Right.
But no, if you want to come on, whenever you want to come on, we'll pick a specific topic to stay within. Like I said, it's hard to follow multiple topics because when you go from one to another, it changes reality too much for a person. And some people are ready for it, but a lot of people aren't.
Yeah, a lot of people like for us to concentrate on just one particular thing. And the one thing about this particular Christmas Eve and this Christmas and New Year, this Christmas week, is I think that we're going to get a break, actually, with the heaviness for like about 7 days. And then we'll be able to expand and see where we're going to go in the next year. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be a lot of people that are going to go through a lot of heavy shit.
Well, Brian, you see the picture now, don't you?
The who?
The picture who came on?
Actually, it's Martha.
Yeah.
You dyed your hair blonde.
That's been a long time now. Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
The other thing you're doing, you want me to just say something else about astrologically? Tomorrow, the eclipse. The full moon in Capricorn, I believe so, the 26th, 27th, the full moon in new moon in Capricorn, and it's an eclipse which will last 6 months, the effect of it. Because it's in Capricorn, it's going to affect finances, business.
Excellent.
Business. So excellent. People need to really get moving and go with the groove of the new moon, new seeds, new planting in Capricorn.
Well, that's a lot. A lot of the new stuff, the darkness, is what we're into right now. As of a few days ago with the winter solstice,
that's
and that's interesting though that eclipse is going to happen in Capricorn for me personally.
Mm-hmm. And then
I can't imagine much better happening to me.
It's also going to affect people that are Cancerians too, or have Cancer rising.
Well, I have my moon in Cancer. Oh, I have Cancer rising, right?
Okay.
I have Cancer rising.
Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a big effect.
On top of where we are right now, I prophesized the last 3 7.1 earthquakes in the past year. But I'm going to say this right now. Within 6 months, we're going to have a serious disaster. I don't know whether it's going to be from Japan, Australia, to Alaska. But right now, there was 6.0 earthquakes in Africa, South America this month, right today. There's multiple giant earthquakes happen every week now, which has never happened in history. The whole Ring of Fire is on fire. Nobody's talking about it.
Look at the volcano that went off in New Zealand. My friend's out there, Stewart and Richie, man, were right. They're right there where that thing went off.
Well,
there. And, that was,
I just spoke to somebody in Australia, and they're saying how bad the fires are, and it's destroying a lot of things right now.
My friend too. He says the whole continent's on fire.
See, people like Trump doesn't understand a fire like that changes our weather in the next 2 years completely.
That's true.
California having the fires that they had up until now, and now Australia's having them. The weather for the next 2 years will be the worst weather we ever had in history. And they'll see global warming's happening. When Antarctica starts to frost, more of the UFO stuff is going to be exposed. They won't be able to cover that up. I mean, Third Phase of the Moon just put a video up just today about what they're seeing up at Antarctica and stuff, what's coming out of the snow already. Things are going to explode.
But we're going into a mini ice age too. So we're saying global warming, but we're also global cooling. The sunspots, there's not that much sun activity. So that's being affected. And that's what's also kicking off the volcanic and earthquake.
Well, I feel science is always dead wrong. Whatever they say, they're about 90% wrong of what they're prophesizing. Now, they have no control or understanding of what's going on in outer space, even though they tell us they do. I don't believe in the black hole theory. I don't believe the Earth was created by the Big Bang. All these stories that they throw at us, how we got here, what happened, are just that. And as far as what's going to happen, we're creating the disaster that's going to happen to the planet. Not God, not Moses, not any other spiritual person. It's the people that are ignorant, not stopping the government, that can do whatever they want and are doing it. Now, when Trump attacked the Native people, and now just because he said, okay, they can build the oil well, it blew open and started flooding the city now, people don't hear it. They cover everything that he's doing to the Native people up right now. It's sad because right now, if they're planning another two more pipelines, one of the people running for Democrats right now said he spent the past 10 years of his life stopping them from building pipelines, stopping them from doing a lot of things. I don't care who he is. I'll vote for him because right now, the Native people, I said it before, are getting 25 years if they get caught boycotting the pipeline. And they know it's just the Native people that are trying to fight that. Sure, they get some white people to join the lines and everything, but it's the Native people going first their own land. People should respect people, which they don't. The Native people are the first people. Why is it there has never been a Native president or even on the ballot to run for president? We have a sick system controlled by massive killers, and people think that they're spiritual or important. Now, I know you said it before, which I always say, Brian, about what Jesus said. And that's as true as it comes because right now, and if you pull up the numbers of how many millionaires there are in the United States, pull up how many people are inside the government jobs. It's the biggest number of people in the United States.
The government's the biggest employer here in the United States.
But there's only 330, what is it, 330 billion
330 million people.
Billion. Oh, yeah, I wish. Million people. Oh. 220 are inside the government.
Yeah.
Working for different parts of the government. And they all get super salaries. So who do you think they support? Who do you think they take care of?
Of course. Nobody's going to bite the hand that feeds them.
So, again, we have a serious system which is way out of control. And nobody that's around is ready to take control of it. And all I can say is I feel I would do anything to help change it if I could. I write letters every day. I've been online 10 hours a day writing letters, writing a new book. And I'm just trying to get to a point where I'm trying to find out some people that I need to get my publicity out mainstream. And I'm not making any money on it. So it's a point of let's change what we can. Like if you feel like you can help somebody, Brian, anything that you say that can help us in the future, that will. I mean, if we can't give them anything that can help change their reality, what good is it?
Well, that's why you better remember I was so hectic last year when Devron kept badgering me about announcing the War of 34. And that's when Lucifer strike. You know, I went at it with him for a good week, and he was relentless. And I'm like, okay, so I'll do it. So I'll announce it to the world that this is when Lucifer's going to strike, and then what's going to happen 3 years later. But we got. I mean, who?
What is that? What is this time and what you're talking about? There are
Lucifer will start his war in 2034.
Okay. Right.
Jesus will come back and beat him in 2037. That'll all go down, and we'll know where we stand in the multiverse. And
what I said to Brian on that,
he doesn't agree with that.
How many people on this planet deserve to be saved?
Well, me.
Well, besides you, me, myself, and I, who else is supposed to be saved? I don't even want to be saved. But
that's not for me to determine the mind of God. I don't know. I mean, some people we might think are complete jerk-offs, and God saves them, and we may think somebody.
No, Brian, Brian, you have to take some responsibility for your perception of what God is.
Oh, me? I think God's the best.
What?
I think he's the best.
Oh, he's the best, but why?
I'm pro God.
I know you're pro God, but why?
Because if I was to look at everything the way I look at it and what I've learned over the last 30 years, as I stand, I relate to God. That's how I think. I like God. I don't like the pagan gods as much, but I understand them. I don't like the Egyptian gods that much, but I've met and understand them, and other gods and deities and aliens. But when it comes to making me feel good, plus meeting him in 2004 face to face, I am pro God. God wants to take me right now, drop dead right now, happy as a pig in shit.
Well, that's fine.
That's my opinion.
Saving the world, telling the world what's going to happen. I mean, like when 9/11 happened, when everybody prophesied it was going to happen, how many people went in front of the Trade Center and stood there telling people they're going to die if they go in there? Did anybody do it? Anybody? Wait, Brian. Anybody that made that prophecy, did they do that?
Not that I know of.
So, I mean, Sean David Martin's in jail right now. He was blind. He was raped. He's been in
jail because of that.
He was raped?
He was raped and blinded. They actually blinded him. They operated on his eyes and made him blind.
Who, Sean?
Sean. I'm dealing with his wife right now. Sean.
The guy weighs like 400 pounds.
He's probably not eating anything in jail. I mean, here's the thing. He was attacked. He's blinded. He was doing his paperwork to get out of jail. And they put him in this room, a freezer room with no clothes on. His wife's trying to get lawyers and nobody's helping him. So he's got a serious thing, and people say it's his karma. But people like Trump and everybody else has their karma they're going to have to pay with sooner or later.
You know what? I kind of realize, personally, between me and you, the amount of money that Sean was accused of bilking the government out of, which was what, 1.6 million, I believe? Something like that is what they said. I can see the strive to want that type of money. But from where I sit now, I can't understand why you would put that much into owning that much money where you would do anything bad to get it.
Well, and I know you
say something here about that because I think I have a different perspective about Sean. He came out with this book, The Sands of Time, and the third book he put in foolishly the algorithms formulation for time travel. And upon doing that third book, which took forever to get out, he took forever to do it. And he was going to do a fourth and a fifth. He was going to do this in Europe somewhere. And it ends up that right after that book, shortly thereafter, they got him in jail, supposedly for the stuff that was going on years ago.
I'll tell you what about Sean Morton. When Tommy introduced me, he came to my home in 97 for the first time. I sized him up. The only thing that I could say is, if you're as good as what you claim and brag to be, then how come every single money endeavor that you went into, and we're talking like 20 schemes, all failed?
He stole money from people.
All failed. I know, Sandra. All failed. They all failed. No.
Well, all right. I don't want to attack Sean.
And
I mean,
hold on.
this thing he did, Brian, you
Hold
made
on.
many people millionaires.
1 second, please. I got a book deal, and I wrote that book in July of 1997, and I did it in 1 month, 200 some pages. Sean got a book deal 6 months earlier. God talked him into giving him $25,000 up front. Stole the money and never took the book. So do I get any money for actually doing what I said I was going to do? No, I didn't. So wherever Sean is right now, I'm sure he's dealing with his karma.
Brian,
When we're
if you understand karma, people that cheat on their wives, people that do things all have karma.
Yep.
And they don't pay for it until they die. I mean, we live in a world where karma could be built as much as you want to make until the time you have to pay it back. Now, to say he's more evil than anybody else, I would never go there.
I didn't say he's more evil. I think.
But I'm just saying, his karma, he was falsely accused. They don't have any evidence of anything he did in court. Not one, wait, Brian, not one witness came out in his to attack him. There's no documents. They had no proof. That's why it was supposed to be 150 years he got, and he got 6.
I know.
But again, that's his life. He did a lot of things for people. When I knew him, he wasn't trying to make money. But guess what? He got a movie rights 2 months before they raped him. They were going to do a movie, The Sands of Time. And then just at that time, they brought him in. What was that?
Wow.
But
why did they wait all those 7 years and then this book comes out?
I don't know. And I don't know. You know what? I doubt Sean anything in that book was Sean Morton's. Sean Morton has a way of taking everybody's shit and making it his. I don't want to talk about Sean Morton. I don't want to give him any power than what he has. May his 3 meals come and he gets 2 hours out in the yard each day. That's it. When Sean Morton will be back. Believe me, he will be back bigger and stronger than ever. He will be making tons of money. And we'll see then what happens.
Brian, he will never have money. He has a $450,000 bill when he comes out, and so is his wife. But in the interim, I don't want to talk about him because he has his own karma. I know what past lives he went through. I was with him in one lifetime.
I know, Tommy. I know. But I trust you 1,000 times more than I trust Sean Morton.
Well, I didn't think you had to trust him
with that.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but you have 10 minutes because.
All right, I got to go eat, man. It's okay. Hey, you know what? This was cool.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
This was great. Good to see you, Martha. Tommy will be doing things again. And I just think that I hope everybody has a fantastic Christmas Eve, and that I want everyone to know that at 60 years old, I will have milk and cookies up in the magic room upstairs for you know who to come by tonight. And hopefully he will make an appearance.
Well, all I can say on that one, keep your cameras running. Put a little red light on or something.
Yeah.
Make sure they can find their way around in there.
Yeah. But you guys have a good one, all right? Have a good Christmas.
All right, Mr. Sargel.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure.
Christmas.
Have a happy holiday. I know you will.
I will.
Happy New Decade.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Yeah, I got to go too, Tommy.
All right. Well, it was a pleasure. Have a happy holiday.
You too. Happy decade.
All right. So you had 2 people. I have one person that I deal with a lot. We don't always agree. We have different viewpoints on certain things directly. But the last, whatever I'm going to put into this, I have no clue, but I'm going to put a few minutes into this because tomorrow is Christmas. It is one of the most important days of the year. Whether people want to look at it that way or not, they can look at it any way they want. What does it really mean? The birth of a spiritual person. I don't say the birth of God. God was always in existence and not like it had birth. Coming into this world to believe that Jesus was God. We're all part of God, but God doesn't come into this reality. It would destroy this reality completely if it did. The vibration of that People can't even deal with the vibration of the astral plane, and that's why they keep coming back here. Until you can change your vibration to a higher level, not going into sixth and fifth dimension, because we're already in fourth dimension, and we are already working in fifth dimension, that's not going to change the realms we go to. That's only the physical reality, physical worlds that we are staged in. We have a problem because Christianity is what, 2.4 billion people on the planet, and the Muslims are 2.1 billion people on the planet. So the biggest percentage follow two religions that have nothing to do with a real God. And when I say a real God, what does God want? Now, tell me the last person that you know that actually talked to God, other than the person who wrote Conversations with God, who says he talked to God. All right. I asked him for an open debate. Come on my show. I'll come on his. I'll go wherever he wants to do the debate. Because God didn't say love is the only thing that's important. Mankind wants to believe it. Who brought love out to this world? It wasn't the Egyptians. It wasn't the Mayans. It wasn't the Aztecs. It wasn't the Hopi people. It was Jesus. Sorry to say that. I mean, I searched for 2 years trying to find out the creation of the word love, how it formed and what it became and how it became that. And there's nothing that can even come close to what it really was. Because women were never respected. Not that they're respected much today. I mean, even in a relationship, most religions, most paths, have a woman as the maid. And that's the maid and sex object. Outside of that, what do they want a woman for? They hang with the guys. They go out in sports and clubs and everything else. So it's really twisted. So when Jesus tried to teach about love, how do you teach love? You can't. You can only show it. And I'm not talking about he had to kiss and hug everybody to show love to all the people that followed him. He had to show how he related to Mary Magdalene, which was a relationship. Sorry, people, whether you want to believe that or not. In the Bible, what it says, read what Mary Magdalene did. She had to follow through with his teachings. How could she give his teachings to his disciples if she wasn't equal to Jesus? Oh, she was. She had the 32 psychic abilities that Jesus had. That's how she made it around the world. Thomas was also Jesus' closest disciple, not Peter. Paul never saw Jesus. So you have to understand the Bible, which you probably don't. You listen to words, you listen to translations, you listen to people tell you about it. Experience helps more than anything. And now, why I'm a rebel, why I'm so hardcore about that, because I'm aware of all my past lives back to Atlantis. How many people could even try to say that? How many are aware of their past life even? Or the life before that one? How many want to go back to when soul came down into this planet, onto this planet, for what reason? All right. And before I go back to Jesus, I want to go back to the beginning. Earth was incredible. When 9 races were here, and there were 9 different colored races of beings, this world was incredible. 5 of them became more spiritually aware than the rest. And they left this realm. One of each one of them became a god, a little god, a deity. Green Tara, Shiva, Krishna, Quetzalcoatl. They all became gods, but there was only 6. All right. Out of them, on planet Earth, we don't have gods. In the astral plane, there's 3 specific gods and Lucifer. I know what Sargel says about Lucifer, and I know what I know about Lucifer. Lucifer was the highest archangel, all right? And he was put in the place of the astral plane, which means it's not hell. This is hell. So he was in control of the energies that go past him, not below him. Satan was created. They say Satan's Lucifer's son, but that's a story too. Man creates stories because they don't know. Dante's Inferno, he goes on about the different levels of how you'll burn in hell by what you do, which is ridiculous. It's like taking the soul, chopping it up and freezing it, burning it, cutting it up, putting it in a meat grinder. Soul, you can't do that to soul. Soul's eternal, unless God wants to destroy it, which mankind won't accept either. Oh, we can live forever, we're permanent. No, it's just like your human body. Picture God being the body of all of everything. Every defective cell that's in it, it can destroy it or kick it out of the body. On planet Earth, we created so many diseases and sicknesses within our body, we can't do that anymore. Native people didn't die of disease. They died of falling off a horse, stampeded by buffalo, falling off a cliff. They didn't die of disease. Every sickness that's manifested on this planet, usually within a short distance, the cure for it exists, meaning plants and herbs and all those kind of things. Now, your people going up into the different mountains and places, the Aborigine tribes work with plants, but they didn't do anything with their awareness. And what did they become aware of? How to kill an animal and how to eat it, how to cook it. The awareness of mankind has stopped. In Atlantis, we didn't really need much because we didn't have to think. We were aware. You didn't have to talk if you didn't want. You didn't have to fly if you wanted. You could do whatever you wanted in those days. I mean, you couldn't cheat. You couldn't steal. You didn't have the ability to. You didn't rape and kill. And then alien races came down. So why would God allow that to happen? All right. Who allowed that to happen? Lucifer said, I'm going to take demons. Where did they come from? You have to look at the base of the original root race of people, of races of people, where they came from, why they're here. I mean, nobody wants to go into that because they're still programmed by Zachariah Sitchin, and they have his truth twisting and taken away from the actual story of the Anunnaki. They were a race of people here. And the whole thing about their head being bigger. Well, the bigger head is just a bigger ego. They didn't become spiritual. Nobody before Jesus in all the religions were spiritual. In Hinduism and all those religions, they talk about sex as a stimulant to make super energy to rise into the higher realms or to the spiritual reality of oneness, which is a limited viewpoint because there's many things beyond that when you're ready. I mean, it's the first step. The soul has to learn how to get out of this body to realize that it's not the body. And once it does that, you can move into a higher place. Now, do I attack people? I go against what they say. If they're saying lies that I know are direct lies, I will contradict it. And I will put a statement next to it and challenge them to debate that statement. Like I said to Sergeant 18. I mean, we can attack people. Like everybody's attacking Sean David Morton because he got busted, framed for stealing money from people. All right? He didn't do it intentionally, and he never made the money they said he had. He never had that kind of money. So the delusion where they say, well, he did. No, he didn't. But that's one story. That's not, I don't want to get into that story. But Sean David Morton made a prophecy. Sergeant 18 made a prophecy of 9/11 being attacked. Neither one of them was standing at the doorfront of the trade center saying, don't go in that building today. Why is that? If you make a prophecy and you listen or believe it, guess what? You're supposed to do something about it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be shown it. Why be shown something you can't do anything about? Does it change anything? No. Noah was given a message from an angel. Do this. You have to. It was hard. Probably one of the hardest messages somebody had to listen to, and did it. Now, when you go into Cain and Abel, I mean, you go into these stories, you got to listen and read the facts, what happened. All right. Now, let's go to Sodom and Gomorrah. All right. Lot. He was met with an angel, told to leave the city. Don't look back at what happens. He did. He left with his 2 daughters. His wife decided to watch what happens, and she turned to a pillar of salt. But, you know, in those days, meteorites were hitting the planet. It destroyed that whole area, which they've proven. All right. And she was burnt up. And then Lot, being supposedly a spiritual person, had to have sex with his daughters to create a tribe again. So you have to look at facts, look at what went down, and where does it take everybody? If you're given a message of something happening, if you don't do anything about it, who gets the karma? The people that die, or you for not telling them? When you make a prophecy, any prophecy of the future, now, if I knew exactly what part of the planet was going to have this super big earthquake, I would be warning those people in every way I could right now. I'm getting closer to feeling where it's going to be, but I'm not sure yet. If I'm given that in a vision or any way, I will make sure I put it everywhere I can. And then it's up to people to listen. When a person's getting on a plane and the Spirit says, don't get on this plane, and they cancel their flight, they're listening to Spirit. And they don't get on that plane, the plane crashes. So we have to be aware what Spirit actually gives us. For what reason? To make a prophecy, and one that you're not going to see, is even worse. Well, I could say, Sean made a prophecy, Sargel made a prophecy, these people make prophecies. The one lady that died was 100 and something. A lot of hers came true, but the last 5 or whatever they were all went down the tubes. She said in 2012, I think the United States was going to be destroyed. By 2014, Russia was going to rebuild the United States. I mean, how far do they go with their prophecies, and what does it really mean? They're not here to prove it or disprove it or even say, hey, look, I told you so, because they can't even say that if they were here. But to say something that you can't witness, God created witnesses for what he gave people to do. But God doesn't do that himself. That's what the angels and the deities are for. Angels are the messengers for the deities. The deities take care of the lower worlds for God. Jesus spoke about that, but nobody in the Bible that listened could understand what he was saying. How many people listened to Tesla? How many people understood what he was even talking about? He said, mankind will not be ready to use what I give them. The ignorance of people is growing in the actions. I'm doing a new book because there is a destruction happening to the planet. Not aliens. I won't say not demons, because demons are affecting a lot of people. People that watch vampire movies, zombie movies, Halloween movies, things like that. How it corrupts their inner awareness. Sex is okay when you pervert it and abuse it. Then is it okay? Of course not. So where's the limit? Where's the level? Well, that's what you need to learn. And then how much of any of that or all of that is going to help you take the next step in a spiritual growth? Nobody explains that. Be nice. Be nice. If the whole world was nice, what would it do? Too many egos, too much power, too much energy. Let me see if I can bring this call on. Hold on. Hello? Oh man, I missed this call. Let me just tell her. Hello?
Hold on, Tommy. Hold on.
Could I call you back in 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Because I'm on a show right this now. All right. This is a person that I deal with who is a medicine person. Credible things go on and things. But I always challenge a person or watch them, whatever they do. You work for God. What's that really mean? You work for Lucifer. What's that really mean? Go around killing and raping people? Work for Satan, you do. Satan, which created the forms of witchcraft that came out of Aleister Crowley and all that stuff, is probably a very negative thing, which was brought into that realm by negative energy. Witchcraft, I was a witch when I was young, but there was always called white and black magic. It wasn't called Wicca. Wicca became a word which people wanted to use to make witches sound good and make them good. Well, if it's white magic, black magic, Houdini didn't use real magic, where Moses used real magic. But magic that, now you have to look at it this way. Moses, being one of the most powerful magicians on the planet, claimed to follow God. All right. He worked with Jehovah. Jehovah is a god of the third world. Whether you want to know that or not, you don't have to believe it. When you get there, if you ever get there, you'll find out. There's 3 gods that sit there with him that decide what souls go beyond this astral plane into the next realm. All right. But getting back to Moses being a powerful magician, what did he do? He walked people around in circles until how many years? 4 generations. Do you know what generation means? All right. What happened in those generations? Families and people died. So when he got to the promised land, which wasn't that far away, because he was walking around in circles, he wasn't allowed there. It doesn't explain it in the Bible what happened. And then you got man's interpretation. Well, he got mad in the temple. Oh, wrong story. Sorry. He got mad and in this, that, and the other thing. No, that's not the reason. Moses created laws that go against the Ten Commandments. If you understand the Ten Commandments, you could understand when he created 613 laws, went against everything. So at that point, he killed all these people walking around in circles. The new people got to the promised land. And what did those people do when they got there? Kill the people that were there already. So here's a person leading people to go to another place to kill more people. In the name of what? God? See, concept of gods were pretty well changing all along the way. Jesus, again, was the only person explaining what God is. Not this loving being, which everybody wants to hear. I mean, I'm sorry, people. You have to look at the facts. You can't just say, well, God loves everybody. God doesn't. If you think God has to love a rapist, a murderer, and a child abuser, why? Well, it was forgiving. Jesus came to forgive the world. No, he didn't. Jesus didn't have the power to forgive the world. Look at what happened to him. Look at what happened to the people around him. They tried to kill every disciple, everybody that followed Jesus, everybody that did what he taught them were killed and put on a cross. They don't talk about that either because they were all killed. I was there. I saw it. I was a female, so I was protected, and I was pretty well off then. Mary Magdalene was my closest friend until she left. And she left. She left with Thomas. Thomas went around the world too. Thomas did make it to India and teach there. And they only released that rather recently. The same as the story about Mary Magdalene had to stay. She was a sleazy hooer for how many years? I'm thinking they realized it was all lies about 25 years ago, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. I'm not sure when they actually came out and said, well, the story of Mary Magdalene was 4 stories they put together because they just wanted to make women evil, which is all it was. Mary Magdalene was the most spiritual woman to walk this planet. Nobody even wants to look at that fact. Why would Jesus marry her? Why did Jesus give birth? Well, he helped get her pregnant, and she gave birth to a daughter. Now, why did they cover that up? We can't have that. Jesus didn't have sex. Jesus was a spiritual being, and he couldn't, and all that. Now the Pope's making it okay to get married and all that. It's twisting lies to make more lies. Are you ready for the truth? Just listen to some stupid alien coming down telling you another story. Because there's going to be many aliens coming here soon. But the ones that are coming here are not here to help the human race in any way. Watch the movie V. That's as close as you're going to get for them helping us. And why? Watch that movie. The second version, not the original, the newer version that was a series for 6 months. It's online. Watch it. Watch how it goes down. If they decide to come to this world, that's the way it's going to go down. You think they're going to come down here and just make us prisoners? No. We already got technology that can kill and destroy the reptilians, the Greys, a weapon. All right, just so you know, people might not want to hear that. They're ready. They're fighting them already. It's not like, oh, well, let's see how they do and what they tell us when they come here. No, it's not about that. We have wars. I said it before. We had 3 wars on this planet. We had 2 wars in space already. I saw a small war happen over Hawaii. 2 ships got blasted down right above me. So is there real reality to all this? Of course there is. Is there a truth behind it? Yes, there is. Not yours, not mine. The truth of things that really happened. So when people around Jesus decided to kill Jesus, most of his followers turned around and left. Realize, if it wasn't for Mary Magdalene, Christianity would have never taken a step forward. She had to go to them and lead them forward. Teach them what they didn't learn from Jesus. People don't want to know the truth. They want to believe God's a loving being, which it's not. It doesn't have a body like we do. Do you think it cares about the stupid things we want to put ourselves through? Until we decide to let go of all that, does God want to work with a higher being? And then it gives you more responsibility, not more love and compassion, and sit around and talk around the campfire. That's not what soul is about. But until man, which it's not going to happen soon, and it's not going to happen easily or voluntarily, and it's not going to be aliens that make us realize we're not spiritual. But we will see that they're not. They're not here to teach us about a real God. I'm going to do a workshop. And I promise you, if you take it, you're going to learn things that you probably never did or wanted to, but you'll realize somewhere during it that it is important to know. And then it's up to you to take that further and bring it into your life and make it a reality. I'm not programming you. I'm only saying the truth is there. And you got to find it. Going into a simple meditation, blocking everything out is not going to answer it either. There's steps after that you got to take. So there's many things that are happening that are being destroyed, taken apart, and not beneficial for the human race. So if you want to listen to these UFO people go on about stories about going into the universe, traveling and getting better ships and working with all these different aliens, why? What did one alien ever do to make the world a better place to be? Now, build pyramids? Pyramids help the human race? Why aren't those races here? Think about anything these ancient alien people say. What is beneficial to the human race? Religions have been so squandered in their own ego and beliefs. Man has destroyed their own religion. Christianity was on the right steps. Jesus didn't come here to create Christianity. He came here to teach truth. Big difference. The truth that was left out of the Bible. Because then they couldn't control people. The same as when something's given away for free. They can't control people. If they gave energy away for free, who can they control? So we have a double standard of life, double standard of religion, double standard of government, and none of it's beneficial to become more aware spiritually. And the word spiritual is the most twisted, obscene word on this planet. Because it doesn't mean what people think it does. Oh, I'm spiritual, which means people go on about who they think they are. All right? And what that really means. But until people realize it's not about what you want. I had a master, Tibetan master, that I worked with for years. And he says, it's not about you. It's never going to be about you. It always bothered me when he said that. I said, of course it's about me. It is about you becoming aware of who and what you really are. At that point, it's not about you at that point. But until you get to that level to understand that, well, no, I got to worry about me. Yes, you do. So you're useless to God until you're aware of God. And I mean, not make believe, well, God says he's going to protect me. From what? Dying? No, he's not. No, it's not. It's not a he. Oh, and it's not a she. So you got people want to make things fit into their little place of ego and truth. My truth, I was told this all my life. I was read this and I read that. So this is the truth. Really? If 1 billion people write something, does that make it true? I'm going to say something. Jesus said this, and it's not in the Bible. One second.
I'm writing down your CDs when I'm done.
All right.
I'll make spaghetti.
I'm almost done. Jesus said this. The most spiritual path will always have the least followers. Now that contradicts Christianity, doesn't it? It contradicts Muslim religion, doesn't it? The two highest religions on the planet. Check out Whirling Dervishes. Check out the word Ekankar. checking out the word Shab Yoga. They're getting big following now, but the bigger the following gets, the further away from the truth it becomes. Hold on, my little squiggly guy out there wants to get out. He got out. You know, I know people don't like to hear half of the stuff we talk about because they don't want the truth. Sargel's truth and mine are different. He has reasons for his truth. But I say this, no matter who you deal with, who you say you work with, God, Jesus, Moses, Michael, Gabriel, challenge it. What do they know? What is their truth going to be to you? If they can't tell you, guess what? It's useless. And they're going to make it a surprise guest, okay? When an angel comes, they give you the truth and they tell you what's going to happen. Again, it's up to a person to take that, to do something about it. If I was shown Hawaii was going to go down in 2 years, I'd tell people to leave. Not that I'd want to leave. I believe in going down with the ship, not abandoning the ship and running off and letting the ship go down with all the people on it. We have to be responsible for ourselves. If you can be aware of that, you don't die. You never die. So what's that mean? It means you can do what you want to this body. But if you give in to what they make you do is the problem. When anybody that's aware knows they can't kill somebody, knows it. Any Christian, Muslims believe different. Any Christian, which is 2.4 billion people, say they're Christian. And they believe in the 10 Commandments. And how about like, thou shalt not kill? All right. Now, there's no clauses in there like Moses put in there. Well, they're demons, I can kill them. Now, the Spanish and the British said there's demons living on the mainland, meaning United States. So it made it easy for them to kill them. And that's why they compared the devil to the red demons, because that was the native people. And it made it so easy to kill 50 million people. But it was slaughter, rape, and abuse all along the way. So what part of reality do you think is real?
Come down. I'm out.
You said that already.
No, I know, but keep the door open for him.
So where are we going to go? Where are you going to go? What do you want to do? What do you want to know? I'll tell you. Hopefully you find the truth. Find the real truth. Doesn't matter which race is going to come here, what they're going to do for us. They're not going to do anything that's going to help you find God. And if they tell you they're God, you're even worse off. Anything that says it's God is a lie in the physical. In the spiritual worlds, just so you know, no being, Lucifer, demons, angels, cannot say they're God. They can say things to brainwash you. Like if you go in front of Lucifer and say, are you God? He could say, you're all that you search for. You're all that you need and things like that. But he cannot say it. And then if you challenge him in that name, he can't go against it. Nothing in the inner worlds can. No demon, no alien, no creature, none of that can. And when you get into those worlds, you'll find that out. I travel all these worlds. I'm not saying it from ego. I'm saying it from experience and what happens and where you go, what you see, what you can do, what you have the right to do and what you don't have the right to do. If I was God, this world would be different. If I was president, this world would be different. I sure would not give money to rich people. Period. Rich people destroy the world. People that take money out of society and put it in a bank and leave it there only hurts society. It doesn't help mankind. You have money, build houses and make homes for people, make low renting houses, and you'd still make tons of money. You'd make more money than keeping it in your bank. If you made centers, hospitals for children and things like that, you'd still make money, but you would help society. Stick it in your bank and say, wow, I got 10 billion in my pocket, in my bank, and leave it there. You're hurting things. You're hurting your own self because that's karma. That should be used wisely. Sure, you could get $1 million and spend it on popcorn and then say, everybody can have popcorn for today. But then what? There's a reality. And if you're willing to take a step into the real world, you might see it. But as long as you're programmed and listen to these people over and over, telling you what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad. Morals were created for a reason. All right. We stripped our morals away. Agenda, genitalia, all those words, they're specific for a reason. Government and science have a different viewpoint. Other countries, they're cloning animals and humans together right now. When they get a bird-like human and stuff, yeah, man might have wings in the near future. And a lot of different things can happen. But is that what God really wanted? Well, it gave us the ability. Well, you can stay in hell and play in there forever, or you can leave it. And the movie The Matrix, watch it 10 times in a row. Watch it twice in a row. And think about how reality fits into that. We play the game. But if you want to play a game all your life forever, that's your choice. You play a board game, one person wins and then it's over. But The Matrix, you stay in it until you decide it's over. And if you never decide it's over, it's never going to be over. This world gets taken away, you'll be on another world doing the same thing in another planet, another universe. It will be the same thing you're learning. Oh, I got to love people. I got to send unconditional love to the world. I got to this, I got to that. Really? And what are you really doing? Nothing. Playing in a world that's abusive, corrupted, destructive. How many people in the United States drink? How many people in the world drink? If they had the money to buy liquor, they would. How many people do drugs? Hawaii is the highest in all of it. And it's supposed to be the most beautiful place on the planet. Mankind steps in and destroys everything they touch, and it's never changed. We don't make things better. They brought mongoose to this island, hoping that they would eat the rats. Didn't happen. The Goki frog is brought here, and they can't destroy it. It's just taken over the crops and fields and everything else, and they're spraying and spraying and spraying. We do things. I mean, we have no snakes. It's not like they brought mongoose here to kill the snakes. We don't have snakes. So, just so you know, mongoose eat during the day, rats eat during the night. They never see each other, so they don't eat. The mongoose don't ever eat rats. So, that's one stupid story that they got wrong. Now, when farmers put chemicals out like Monsanto's, oh, it's going to kill all the beetles on our crops. Yes, but the food that people eat, it's killing them as well. We don't look at what we really create. We only look at what we want to create. Inventions only make everything we do easier. Why is that? Easy? 90%? I'm exaggerating there. 60% of the planet's overweight in the United States. All right. Why is that? Because we don't want to do things. We want machines to do it. We got vacuum cleaners that run around your house, vacuum in the house. We're going to have cars that drive you to and from work to the store. We're going to have machines running, fixing stores, putting stock on the shelves and all that. Are you ready for that? Do you think they're going to need your sorry ass after they get these machines in their stores and everywhere else running right? I mean, they got robots in hospitals already and things like that. But it's only going to grow. It's not decreasing. And the ultimate goal is to eliminate as much workforce as we can. If you have a company, if you could have 10 robots working or 10 people, which would you rather have? Robots that would work 24 hours, 7 days a week for no money, except maintenance, or try to get 7 people to work 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. You can't. So the scenario we're creating goes beyond what we assume is important. So hopefully you get something out of what I said today. I mean, I could go on, but I think this is long enough. If you even listen to part of this, it's okay. If you got to this point, it's okay. Every little bit your inner awareness hears helps it. Just because you don't catch it or you don't hear it yourself. Sorry, I should take my glasses off a long time ago. I mean, Sargel had his glasses off for the first time ever. So where are we going You can believe what you want about religion, believe what you want about being one with the universe. See what that does for you on your dying bed. You're in the hospital, you're dying, and oh, I'm going to be one with the universe now. Have fun with that. Seriously. I'll be free. Free to what? Do you have a clue what you're going to do when you're there? Float around and think like everybody? Be one consciousness? The consciousness of this realm is sick, pathetic, twisted, horrible. Do you want to be one with that? Do you understand what God would think, perceive? Any idea? Why it would create dinosaurs and humans? You should. God has a reason for everything it does. Why the human body is the perfect machine, and man even destroys that. Robots, cyborgs, and super soldiers, and all those words that the government's creating. They did. 22 years ago, they released 6 super soldiers from Jersey, Picatinny Arsenal. Where did they go? What are they doing? Who knows? But they're big upright eyes. They glow. I mean, and they have superpowers. Who knows what the powers are, what they gave them, and what their abilities really are. Send them to a battlefield, take out a country, whatever. Who knows? Do you know what we're really doing? Nobody puts real numbers up. And I can tell you this. When it has to do with good and bad, if it's bad, the numbers are low. If it's good, the numbers are high. The same as Trump and Hillary. The numbers were what? Only 800,000 difference? And Hillary won. And then we got a twisted, pathetic system, which people, my brother agrees with it. The electoral votes. Well, you need it for... No, if a country has 10 people, they should have no equal rights to a country that has 10, or 2 million, 3 million, or 20 million. Do you really think 5 people could be drug addicts, drunks, and they should have power equal to another state? Mankind is twisted, sick, pathetic. When man is in power, which a woman would change this reality, at least at some level, no matter who what. If Hillary got in, she's still a woman, still has woman instincts. I don't care how bad you think she is. Think Trump or anybody else is any better or any worse. Well, how many people she killed? Really? She killed that many people and you didn't prove one of them? Didn't put her in jail? Why? If there's truth within something, prove it. Death is provable, because when a person dies, they don't move around no more. They can't lie no more. Birth is provable. There's a baby there that wasn't there yesterday. But in between that, all the fine lines of what's right and wrong, what's that baby supposed to do? What are you going to program that baby to do? Do you know how to protect that baby? There's so many things mankind's not ever able or willing or ready to step into that space to be, sadly. Oh, I love. What? How many divorces? How many separations? 60% of all relationships. Well, with that, I hope you got something out of today. I don't know how Sajel is going to work with me. I know we kind of don't agree on everything. But all right, well, look, we'll talk soon. It was a pleasure. Till next time. Peace, love, compassion, whatever you need or want in your life. Hope you get it. See my little guy? Gizzy, say hi. All right. Till next time, people. See my little guy? He likes everybody. Well, most everybody. Peace. Ending the broadcast, but is it ending?